best there ever was. That's you. I need to write one. Oh, sorry, yes, ma'am. Good. Following order. This is kind of life. I live this every year. 400 nights.
Welcome, everyone. Can everyone hear me out there? Test 1, 2. Can you hear me? In the back? Ryan? Can you hear me? All right, a little bit louder. Ryan, Schiff, can you hear me? Can you hear me? A little louder? Still can't hear me? Okay. Welcome everyone to the 2024 Alzheimer's Association Purple Lighting Ceremony. I'm Alex Anderson, the Vice President of Public Policy for the Association. Thank you so much to all who are joining us here in Tallahassee and all of you across the state who are streaming this ceremony online. We are honored to have our elected officials here standing with us in solidarity this evening, and we appreciate all of your support. We want to recognize and thank the Department of Elder Affairs who sponsored this lighting event and who worked tirelessly with the Governor's Office to get it done. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for your continued support. We have a great program for you this evening as we light the historic Capitol Purple to raise awareness for the more than 580,000 Floridians living with Alzheimer's disease and the over 827,000 individuals serving as caregivers. You'll hear this evening from individuals making a difference and moving the needle forward on Alzheimer's policy. With Florida having the second highest number of individuals with Alzheimer's, it is imperative we have policies that help support those living with the disease and their families, and strengthen our current infrastructure for the rise of cases projected in the next few years. Last year, Rush University conducted a study regarding county prevalence in the United States. Florida has 6 counties in the top 100, including the #1 county in the country, Miami-Dade. The Alzheimer's Association has a 2024 legislative platform which works to create dementia training for law enforcement, ensure coverage for biomarker testing, expand Alzheimer awareness through a public health campaign, increase funding for programs that provide critical support services, including the Alzheimer's Association Brain Bus, and enhance groundbreaking research in the state. I'm honored to introduce our first speaker, Secretary Michelle Salsman. Before her appointment to the Department of Elder Affairs, she served as our Vice President of Public Policy. Big shoes to fill. Under Secretary Branham's leadership, the department serves 6 million seniors over the age of 60, providing services and support initiatives through Florida's Aging Network to help seniors live well and age well in the state. Secretary Branham is a true advocate for our seniors and those living with dementia. During her time at the department, she has been instrumental in securing funding for those with Alzheimer's and creating the Florida Alzheimer's Center for Excellence. We are fortunate to have her leading us in this role. Please welcome Secretary for the Department of Elder Affairs, Michelle Branham.
I'm going to pull this down a little bit, okay? I shared with someone that this is one of my most favorite events of the year. As I think about all of you and I prepare for this moment, I'm overwhelmed. I'm simply overwhelmed because I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be standing in front of you doing what I do without you. You all changed me. I worked for the Alzheimer's Association for almost a decade, and I stood side by side with so many of you in DC, in Tallahassee, knocking on doors, talking with members of Congress, talking with legislators, telling them what they needed to know to move the needle for Alzheimer's disease. When I started, we had to explain what the disease was. We had to talk about the impact. We had to really share with legislators and members about what it was we were facing. Today, about 11 years later, I'm a little older and a little wiser, but that message and that conversation has profoundly changed. We stand now shoulder to shoulder, not only with people like me who are at the agencies, but also in the executive office of the governor, and legislators like Michelle Salsman, who represent a new future for all of us, one that I couldn't have possibly imagined 10 years ago. But like I said, you all changed me. You turned me into something different, a person with a mission, a person with conviction, a person who wanted to be as courageous and as open and as excited and enthusiastic as I could be to fight for this disease. One day we're going to know a cure. And right now we can talk about not preventions, not anything that we can do necessarily to treat, but we have opportunities now to talk about drugs that prolong lucidity by 5 years. That's something I couldn't have ever said before, something I couldn't have even hoped to think about before. So I just want to tell you that what you do matters. Not only did it change me, but it changed people like Representative Salsman, who's become a dear friend. It's changed people like Representative Black, who's here with us today. It's changed people like Representative Rizzo, and all of these amazing legislators that I stand shoulder to shoulder with to do change. I'm thankful for what the Alzheimer's Association does, because I live in that mission. I think about that mission. I came from that mission, and I carry that mission every day, all the time, in all that I do. Creating the Florida Alzheimer's Center of Excellence was something that the governor thought about, because he too champions Alzheimer's disease. He did as a member of Congress. So I'll just tell you a quick story. One of the last things our governor did as a member of Congress was sign the Bold Infrastructure for Alzheimer's Act. Right there in front of several advocates just like you, he signed that and made a commitment. In front of all of us, when he became governor, he made a commitment to seniors and continuing that Alzheimer's proactive movement in Florida to change the infrastructure, to advance research, to go to the next generation and the next place. So one day, years down the road, we're going to put all of the people in the Alzheimer's Association out of a job. I'm hoping and praying that one day we can do that. I'm hoping and praying that one day I'll be with you as we celebrate our first survivor of Alzheimer's. I'm hoping and praying that I can live up to the kind of people that Steve and Gina Waterhouse are, and all of the champions, that I have been with on this road. I'm thankful for all of you. Like I said, you've changed my heart, you've changed me, and I wouldn't be standing here today without you. So thank you, Steve and Gina. Thank you for all of the people so courageous and so thoughtful and so caring to come and share with legislators your journey with this disease. I want to thank the governor. Without his commitment, we wouldn't have the Florida Alzheimer's Center of Excellence, and we wouldn't be able to work with people like Carrie A, who's our dementia director, and she'll speak to you later about everything that's going on in the Florida Alzheimer's Center of Excellence. We wouldn't be here without the Alzheimer's Association and their relentless work in the policy, programs, and research sectors. I'm so thankful that they put me where I am today by giving me hope and giving me just the tenacity to be the kind of secretary that I stand before you right now. So again, thank you to all of you. I'm overwhelmed to see you all, because it just re-energizes me, it refreshes me, it renews me, it sustains me, and I'm just grateful to all of you. So thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you to Governor DeSantis. Thank you to the legislators who have become my friends in this journey. Thank you to the ambassadors. Special thanks to Keely, my very first ambassador, who's here today. And the joy it was to be there 11 years ago with you when we started this journey. So thank you for that. And finally, a big thanks to my team. Thank you for being here and constantly carrying the torch. So I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Bram, for your passion and dedication to the most vulnerable in Florida. Next, I'd like to introduce Florida's Dementia Director, Carrie A. It was because of the Alzheimer's advocates efforts in 2020 that the dementia director position was created. And since Carrie has taken on this role, she's done a tremendous job to ensure Alzheimer's is a priority with our state government. Please help me welcome Ms. Carrie A.
Thanks, Alex. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Wow, look at this crowd of people with such a passion for this topic. Thank you for coming out this evening, and thank goodness it's not as cold as it was last year. My name's Carrie A, and as Alex and Secretary mentioned, I am humbled and grateful to serve as the state's dementia director at the Florida Department of Elder Affairs. Through my work, I often have the opportunity to connect with other states, where we learn from their efforts, share resources, and find creative ways to meet the challenges that are unique to Alzheimer's disease. And I am always proud to see Florida leading the way and carrying the torch with innovative programs and strengthened policies. We are really seen as a leader in these efforts, and I'm so grateful to Secretary Bram, to Governor DeSantis, and all of our lawmakers for recognizing the importance of this work and making it possible. And I also want to extend a huge piece of that gratitude to all of you, our advocacy champions. So many of you have been in this fight for many years, and you are the ones who give a face to the stories and who tirelessly work to help others understand where we have opportunities to make a difference. So I want to share some of the progress that we've made through the work that you made possible within the department and with our partners out in the community, and certainly our partners at the Alzheimer's Association. We've continued to grow the Florida Alzheimer's Center of Excellence. As you heard the Secretary mention, this program was announced by Governor DeSantis in 2022 and has now provided care navigation services to more than 500 families. We are increasing the goals within the State Health Improvement Plan to reach more people around the state with education and resources. We're also working to expand the network of Dementia Care and Cure Initiative task forces to ensure that local efforts can reach more people and reflect the needs of their respective communities. We're also responding to legislative changes for the Alzheimer's disease and related dementia training in licensed care settings to make new requirements more easily accessible and to streamline the process for creating and receiving that training across all care settings. To date, we've had more than 30,000 direct care workers take our new 1-hour training requirement and really amplify the work that they're doing within communities. In response to, yes, absolutely. We're so proud of them. In response to increased funding to the network of memory disorder clinics, we've worked with those clinic partners to improve the diagnostic services to more people and help them expand their research efforts. In every instance, we look for opportunities to make this work sustainable and scalable to ensure that these efforts can make their way to more people and to more places where they will have the greatest impact. We also work incredibly hard to measure the impact of the program so we can better understand what works. And I'm so proud to be able to tell you that we know that they do work. Our care navigation program was selected for the Alzheimer's Association International Conference last year in Amsterdam, and they've recently submitted a proposal to return again this year. So everyone be rooting for them as they work to show the impact of the incredible work that they do. They're really helping to keep people at home longer. They're preventing falls and hospitalizations, and they're keeping the caregivers healthier as well. So to our partners at the Alzheimer's Association and to all of you advocacy champions, I can't thank you enough for the many ways that you champion the efforts and make all of this possible. To our legislative partners, thank you for hearing us and for adding your own stories to the fight. Your combined passion is what makes all of this possible and ensures a better future for us all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carrie. We truly appreciate all you do. Next, I'd like to introduce Dr. Zade Burgos. Dr. Burgos is an incredible advocate who's using her story and her voice to make a lasting impact. She is a caregiver for her husband, Paco. This is her first time traveling to Tallahassee and advocating. Please welcome Dr. Burgos.
Hello, this is my first time here. I'm very excited to be here with all of you. So as I'm standing here, I wish that I could just tell you that as a wife, I knew instantly that something was off with my husband. As a clinician, I wish that I could tell you that I formulated a diagnosis and a treatment plan, and I knew exactly what to do. And I wish that I could tell you that I truly listened to my husband when he told me one time, I think there's something seriously wrong with my memory, but that's not what happened. And I would be lying if I told you that. So I wanted to share our story with you. My name is, like they said, Dr. Zade Burgos. I'm a wife and I'm a licensed psychologist, but more importantly, I'm my husband's care partner. And I will share with you how 20 years ago we started this journey. As I met Paco, his name is Francisco, but we call him Paco, I instantly knew that he was the one. And we just continued to thrive together, and we weathered challenges and triumphs. That's something that we learned to do very quickly as we dive into our marriage. But in 2018, everything changed when he sustained a very tragic spinal injury, and that foreshadowed the arrival of Alzheimer's in our lives. But I always knew that Alzheimer's was around the corner. I never knew it was going to knock on our doors, basically. So within the Hispanic community, Alzheimer's is often shrouded in stigma, and discussions about cognitive decline is something that often we avoid because of fear and misunderstanding. However, we know that Hispanics are 1.5 times more likely to develop Alzheimer's. And studies show that we have, number one, greater care demands, we have less outside help, and higher rates of depression. And like we mentioned earlier, Miami-Dade is number one in the country with the Alzheimer's prevalence. In our family, Alzheimer's has always been a silent specter, and despite a strong family history, it wasn't until 2022 that we had to face the reality, which is a diagnosis of early onset Alzheimer's at age 46. This devastated our world, and the journey has been a roller coaster of emotions. From denial and grief to acceptance and action, we have navigated truly uncharted territory. We have embraced support networks, we have prioritized our mental health, and we have pursued clinical trials. A few months after my husband's diagnosis, I canceled all of my patients and we just went traveling. And for a whole month, we didn't have to worry about anything else other than eating gelato or a plate of pasta. That was our only worry for a whole month. And it was during this trip that we decided to not let Alzheimer's kind of dictate our present. When we were traveling, my husband asked me to help him share his story. And because I think he figured if this was happening to him at 46, it was probably happening to someone else. And that's how I basically decided to support him in any which way that he wanted, and how I became an advocate for the Alzheimer's Association. So in the face of adversity, we have truly chosen to live boldly and to seize each moment and cherish the precious memories that we continue to create. And we're basically refusing to let Alzheimer's dictate our life, and we're embracing our roles as advocates and agents of change and awareness. So what is advocacy? What we know is that advocacy seeks to amplify the voices of those that are affected by an issue and work towards solutions that improve their lives and upholds their rights. And that is exactly what we're all here today. That's what we're wanting to do. We want to do what's right for the lives and the rights of all Floridians who are impacted by Alzheimer's. So some of you may have visited the Big Purple RV in the Capitol Courtyard earlier today, which is the Alzheimer's Association Brain Bus. 2 mobile units that travel the state, reaching at-risk communities where they live, eat, play, and pray. This includes many predominantly Hispanic communities that need information, support, and to know that it is okay to talk about Alzheimer's. If we're to reach communities in every corner of Florida, then the Brain Bus needs our full support. And it's not just the Brain Bus that we're advocating for. We're here today asking for increased respite funding through programs such as the Alzheimer's Disease Initiative and the Community Care for the Elderly program. We're here to advocate for the creation of an ADRD, continuing education course for law enforcement officers, because we think that, yes, we think that they should be equipped with the tools necessary to help our most vulnerable and our loved ones. And we're advocating today to ensure coverage, and this is very important, for biomarkers testings to prepare for the future when Alzheimer's diagnosis is as easy as a blood test. So, yes. It truly has been beautiful to be able to integrate my clinical skills with my truly personal life, and in the name of vulnerability and empathy, honor my husband's wishes. He couldn't be here today, but I'm here for him. So we opened a social media account and we raised awareness, and we quickly learned that unfortunately there's thousands of families in our position. And being able to provide any type of resource and support by simply sharing our story is just powerful, is impactful, and it truly is life-changing, which brings me to my final point. Knowledge is power. Power is action, but action is responsibility. And as a care partner, I do feel empowered by my own sense of agency. In my husband's case, he feels empowered when sharing his story. We both believe that it is only through active advocacy, whether that is for the Alzheimer's Association or social media friends or supporting legislative priorities, that we will continue to advance the fight against Alzheimer's. And in closing, I want to invite each one of you in our mission, which is to stand together as allies and advocates, to offer support and empathy when needed, and to never lose hope in the face of adversity. So thank you.
Thank you, Zade. You are truly an inspiration. Thank you so much. She talked about the brain bus. The brain bus is currently, we're working on that in the budget. The brain bus sponsor, Rep Black, is here. He has done so much for us, and so thank you for coming. We really appreciate your help. Next, I'd like to introduce Senator Danny Burgess. Senator Burgess has been a strong champion for those living with Alzheimer's and their care partners. In 2023, he sponsored the Persons with Disability Registry, which allows local law enforcement agencies to establish a voluntary registry for their loved ones. This year, he's built on that registry work and sponsored SB 208, which we're all advocating for, which creates a continuing education course for law enforcement on Alzheimer's and related dementia. We appreciate you being here, Senator. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me here today. The Capitol looks beautiful. This is my first time having an opportunity to speak at the purple lighting ceremony. It's been an awesome opportunity to be able to sponsor SB 208 and provide some meaningful and important training to our law enforcement professionals in the field as to understand how to handle the unique nature of the Alzheimer's disease and what that impact may mean upon those who are suffering from it and diagnosed with it in their interactions with law enforcement. I'm actually really happy and excited to let you know today that we've expanded that to another population that maybe we don't think about too often, and that's our prisoners in state prisons. And so we're extending that training to correctional officers, because just in my district in Zephyr Hills, we have ZCI. Yeah, we have the Zephyr Hills Correctional Institute, and that is where we actually house most of our elderly aging population in our corrections facilities. And so I'm really proud that we were able to extend that. What can I add to the inspirational story that you just heard and the advocates that are here that spoke to you already? That's what I try to do when I have a chance to be before a mic, is what can I add of value? And so what I would like to say is that you coming up here to Tallahassee, you spending your time, your resources, your money, it matters. It makes a difference. You really can effectuate change when you're up here, and you can inform us as to what this really means to families, to people at home, and how we can help overcome it. And I really do believe firmly in my core, and I look forward to the day where maybe we don't have to have a purple lighting ceremony anymore, because we've completely overcome the Alzheimer's epidemic. So, but you being here, your push for this, the resources, the partnerships, that's how we do that together. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting us as we try to push this effort forward. And you have a great advocacy team. Have a wonderful night. God bless you and your families who are all struggling with this awful disease. And know that we will do everything we can to help find a cure. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Our last speaker is a proven champion for the cause. We are honored to have Representative Michelle Salsman here this evening. Last year, she helped us secure historic funding for the Brain Bus. Rep. Salsman also co-sponsored with Rep. Black HB 299, the Florida Alzheimer's Education and Training Act, which established baseline dementia training standards for all long-term care facilities. In 2022, she sponsored the READY Act, which educates healthcare professionals on Alzheimer's. Without further ado, please welcome Representative Salsman.
I'm all bundled up over here. I went home and changed. I'm so cold. So, Floridians, first of all, it's an honor to stand here before you guys. I look out in the crowd. I was watching you while I was standing over there, and I just see my mom and my grandma. My grandfather is on my stepdad's side, passed away from Alzheimer's last year, and my grandma is she's getting to that point now. And I'm 46. Last year, about 8 or 9 months ago, I took my first memory test, trying to prepare for what's ahead for me. As I've shared many times in this crowd, every woman in my family had dementia or Alzheimer's before they passed away, or they passed away from this disease. So it's right there next to home, which is why it was so easy when Secretary used to be Advocate Michelle Branham came to my office and said, hey, I heard you're an advocate back in Pensacola. I need your help with this bill. And I was like, I don't know her, but she's cool. I mean, you meet her, you know she's cool. And of course, Senator Burgess is here. And then I'm like, this is how you know you're in the right place. Before I continue, there's lawmakers in the crowd. Dean Black, can you come up here, please? You don't have to speak. We had a whole bunch in the crowd earlier. I think they got too cold. We'll pick on them later. Don't worry. But
you just want me to block the wind.
Okay. Where's the coffee, though? We had coffee earlier. I just want to mention, every year I always carry, I just wanted you to, I want people to see your face. You're such a strong advocate. Every year I do carry something for the disabled community. This year, it might not necessarily be named the READY Act, but it's actually named the SAFE Act. And what it will do is it will provide a registration opportunity for caregivers or the actual person that has a disability, a cognitive disability, to include Alzheimer's and dementia, to register your tag with the Department of Motor Vehicles, and they will simply put the word SAFE on your registration. If your loved one is lost, if you're lost, if you get into a car accident, whatever it is that might happen to you, the training is imperative. We need to get our officers, our first responders trained. That's very important. But it'd be nice when they ran that tag before they pull you over, that they see that word, SAFE, and they know something's going on here. We need to be careful. When we approach the vehicle, it might not be drugs, right? It might be something else. So I'm really honored to carry that. It has its final committee stop this week. It's moving in the Senate as well, and I think it'll make the governor's desk. Full disclosure, it came from a disabilities conference with the First Lady, who met this lady named Big Ange from Santa Rosa County, and they said, we need to put something on the vehicle tags for these people with Alzheimer's and cognitive disabilities. So when they're pulled over, that's one more level of protection, not just for the person, but for the law enforcement themselves. So I'm really excited to get that across the finish line. Fingers crossed that we do that. It will certainly help. I'll share a brief story with you about why I got so excited when Big Ange told me that the governor wanted me to do this bill. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. But so she tells me the bill, and so I immediately called AMR and I said, Senator, I want to share with you a story, and then I want to give you a solution. So when my mom was in her final years and she was really just lost, she would escape from the house a lot looking for me. You know, her daughter, who was supposed to be 13 or 14, but of course I'm grown. And she would run and she'd go, I'm going to go. She ran away from home. I'm going to go find her. And she would just leave the house. And several times it would take us a long time to find her. It doesn't matter how many locks you put on a door. You all know what I'm talking about. You can put locks on the door. You can have 24-hour watch. They just sneak. They just know. They just sneak out and then they're gone. Well, my mom got picked up by law enforcement and they thought she was on drugs. Luckily, we were, all of us were running around like crazy and we found her in a police car and we were able to tell them she had dementia. She was not right, and we just needed her home. So they released her back to us. But I say all of that to say it's times like that whenever you really need that registration piece, when you need that training piece, that advocacy piece. And so I was really excited to carry this legislation, and I'm always honored to be amongst so many of you advocates and fellow fighters for the cause, not just for your families, but for the future families of Florida, for the future families of America, the world. And I too am very positive in the fact that I believe we are so close to a cure, and we just have to keep fighting, keep coming up here, keep going to DC, just keep fighting. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Salsman. We appreciate your dedication to helping those in need. Thank you to all today's inspiring speakers, bill sponsors, and advocates. They are making Florida a better place for everyone impacted by Alzheimer's and other dementia. I hope each of us keeps the passion we feel right now for this cause burning. Keep that flame alight and let it guide us to do our very, very best for every Floridian. Thank you all again for coming this evening to the Purple Lighting Ceremony. Your voice matters in Tallahassee. As Senator Burgess pointed out, you coming here matters. They want to hear from you. They don't care about the people who are paid big bucks to come and talk to them. They want to hear your stories. That matters the most. It will be your personal connections that will help Florida be a leader in Alzheimer's policy. Thank you, and have a great evening.